Hi, I'm Shiro. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I've had this video on the backburner for a long while. I took a break from making it to focus on college, and then I just forgot about it entirely. But I wanted to finish it so I could start making content on here. I say this to explain my audio will sound different at some points in the video, as there were parts I had to re-record when I got back to working on this. I hope you enjoy regardless. Anyway, on to the main event. On Twitter, I've made a few threads sharing my blind thoughts on Young Justice as I caught up with the series. I've always been a casual superhero fan. I grew up watching stuff like the Justice League and the Batman, but I own next to no comics. And even after I jumped ship into watching anime and reading manga, I still kept up with comic media like the MCU. All this to say, I had heard of Young Justice before, and I heard it was great, but I never watched it or knew anything about the series or characters until recently. Now here I am, completely caught up with the show. I always intended on sharing my thoughts on the series as a whole, but I don't want to make another Twitter thread or a twit longer, so that's why I'm making this video. This video will include major spoilers for all of Young Justice. At the time of writing, the latest episode is Season 4, Episode 7. If you haven't watched the show already, go do that and come back. All of it is on HBO Max, okay? Okay. The biggest strength of Young Justice overall is made clear from the very beginning of the show. It's character work. In the first season alone, the 6 sidekicks who make up the main cast are all well-rounded and likable characters with fun dynamics. However, I can't say the same about many of the villains in this series. While yes, there are some great villains in this show, like Luthor and especially Vandal, most villains don't get time for us to get to know them well. And there's no better example of this flaw than the Injustice League episode. That episode introduced 7 new villains, and we know next to nothing about most of them. I can talk about Count Vertigo and Ultra Human Knight a little bit. That's because they show up again past this episode. Also, side note, what the hell was with this Joker? Maybe it was just me, but he wasn't funny at all, which is the bad thing because being funny is his gimmick. To use an example about an Injustice League episode could have been better handled, let's turn to the Justice League cartoon. Both seasons of Justice League consisted of mostly 2-part episodes, with some 3-parters every once in a while. When that show tackled an Injustice League episode, it included Lex Luthor and Joker, characters who were very well established due to BTAS and SDAS. And Ultra Humanite, who was introduced in those episodes, ended up getting a bit of character depth in that time. I'll admit, I can see that this comparison is pretty unfair. We already had some character work done for several characters in the Justice League episode, thanks to it being part of the bigger DCAU. But I still bring it up because I believe that Young Justice should have made their Injustice League episode a 2-parter so they could flesh out the roster. So yeah, the Injustice League episode is the weakest season 1 episode in my opinion. It's not bad, it's just not as good as everything else this season has to offer. Thankfully, the positives of this season very much outweigh the negatives. Episodes like Image and Cold Hearted are the absolute highlights of this season for me, giving characters some much needed development and progression. This show was able to do a lot of great things in its first 26 episodes, and it ends with a good enough hook for season 2. Can't wait to watch Invasion! 5 years have passed since season 1's finale. The team we came to love have grown up and doubled their roster of young heroes. Aliens are invading Earth, with some of the invaders working with the light. And the Justice League finds out that when they were brainwashed at the end of season 1, 6 of their members went around and attacked faraway planets. In response to this discovery, a majority of the League leaves Earth to prove their innocence, leaving the covert team and a small fraction of the League to keep the world safe while they're gone. Let's go over what's changed between seasons 1 and 2. Dick Grayson, the Robin we met in season 1, is now Nightwing. The new Robin introduced this season is Tim Drake. Wally and Artemis have left the superhero life behind and are living together. Superboy and Miss Martian, after having a cute relationship built up in season 1, have broken up. This is due to Megan using her psychic powers in brutal ways, practically frying the brains of her victims and putting them in comas. Oh yeah, and she's dating Lagoon Boy, who isn't well liked by the fan base, to say the least. Aqualad has supposedly turned traitor after the girl he loved died and he found out his father is the supervillain Black Manta. However, it's revealed Aqualad's actually a double agent for the team, only working with Black Manta in order to learn more about the light. Nightwing and Aqualad fake Artemis's death so she can join Aqualad on his mission under the identity of Tigress. You keeping up so far? Great, because we aren't done going over what's changed with the heroes yet. God! A lot of new heroes get added to the roster this season. I already brought up Tim and Lagoon Boy. We have Beast Boy, who was introduced in season 1. Blue Beetle and Impulse are new characters who play key roles in this season's big plot. To round up the rest, we got Batgirl, Bumblebee, Guardian, Wonder Girl, the real Roy Harper, who's going by Arsenal now, and then Static joins the team at the end of the season. And big additions to the cast also happened on the villain side. The Reach is an alien race secretly working with the Light to invade Earth and experiment on the metagene, which is basically the DC equivalent of Marvel's mutant genes. Anyway, Blue Beetle is important to Invasion's plot because the scarab that gives him his superpowered suit turns out to be Reach technology. On the Reach's team are the Black and Green Beetles, who later resets Blue Scarab to make him their ally. I know that without context, it sounds like I just described a mini Power Rangers team, but I'm just asking you to roll with it. Okay, let's talk about the actual season. The weakest moment throughout all of Invasion is in Before the Dawn, and that's when Megan uses her powers to fry Aqualad's brain. Does it make sense for Megan to do that? Yes. She didn't know Aqualad was working as a double agent and that Artemis was secretly alive. But that's the problem. Why did nobody tell Megan, the mind reader, about the plan? Nightwing, being the protege of the world's greatest detective, should have thought Megan would find out about the plan sooner or later through mind reading and decided on telling her at the start. I understand that they needed a way for Megan to realize the current way she used their powers wasn't good, but this shouldn't have been that moment. Sorry for the rant. This season was really good. I just didn't like that specific moment. Ironically enough, the Mindscape sequence that occurs when Megan tries to fix Aqualad's brain is probably one of the best moments in the season. There are several great moments in episodes this season. Arsenal fighting Solo to get revenge on Luthor was just so cool. And I like the 2 episodes that put focus on the Star Labs runaways as they gain experience with their powers and get invitations to join the team. Although Static and later Ed end up working with everyone. And the ending had me tearing up a little, I won't lie. Speaking of which, Invasion concludes with Earth being saved and the Reach leaving to face trial for their actions. But Vandal Savage, the leader of the Light, has access to the War World. With it, he travels to Apocalypse and meets with Darkseid. A pretty great ending to lead into the next season. Oh? The show got canceled after this? Dang, that's tragic.
What happened?
If I were to rank the 3 completed seasons of Young Justice, Outsiders would be at the bottom. I don't hate this season. In fact, I found myself really enjoying a lot of what it had to offer. But it's definitely not perfect. 2 years have passed since the ending of season 2. Impulse has taken on the mantle of Kid Flash after Wally. Yeah. Nightwing has been working solo. Aqualad has taken up the title of Aquaman and is now a member of the Justice League. Superboy and Miss Martian are back together and now engaged, thank God. And Beast Boy has become an actor just like his late mother. That's about all that changed during the time skip. The season starts with Justice League member Black Lightning accidentally killing a mutated child with his powers. What an opener! This leads to a rift in the Justice League. Batman and a few other League members, as well as several members from the Covert team, resign to start up their own group. Black Lightning also steps down, but of his own volition. Nightwing goes around and recruits Artemis, Superboy, and Black Lightning to help him in an investigation of metahuman trafficking in the kingdom of Markovia. There, Prince Brion is dedicated to activating his metagene so he can find his missing sister, Tara. One bad turn after another, Brion gains the power to manipulate geological forces, which unfortunately causes him to be exiled from his kingdom. Artemis finds a girl who was about to be buried, but woke up with amnesia and a variety of color coded abilities. One of those abilities is instant regeneration that heals her from even fatal wounds. This girl goes on to become the hero Halo. Later, Megan and the team go to New Genesis to resolve disputes between the Bugs and the new god Orion. By the way, there's a new member of the team called 13 who's dating Blue Beetle, so good for him. However, it turns out the Orion causing issues was actually Megan's Martian sibling in disguise. He escapes after having a brain debate with his sister. A bug named Forager is exiled from his hive and comes to Earth with the team. Oh yeah, and midway through the season, Cyborg goes through his origin story and becomes part of the cast too. And then Tara is rescued and joins the team as Tara, but she turns out to be a spy working for Deathstroke because, of course, she does. On top of this, we also get more villains as Darkseid and Granny Goodness enter the fray, with Granny being super important this season. Now, why did I start the last section and this one telling you about how many characters got added every season? It's because I want to illustrate what I believe is holding Young Justice back, especially in Outsiders. There's too damn many characters. I haven't even mentioned the new heroes on Batman Inc. or even Jace or Harper. Look, here's the thing. I'm a shonen fanboy. I'm used to an action series having a giant cast of characters. My problem isn't that the cast is huge. My problem is how the show goes about handling that cast. Let's use My Hero Academia for an example. MHA's main cast is Class 1A, and even then, it's made very clear that not all 20 of them are equally important. The key players of MHA are Deku, All Might, Bakugo, Todoroki, Uraraka, Ida, and Kirishima to a certain extent. Imagine if, after his introduction in the sports festival, every arc had a chapter or two dedicated to showing what Shinso was up to. That's how Young Justice handles its cast. It feels like in seasons 2 and 3, the show tried to give as many characters as they could important roles in the plot, which sounds great on paper, but after introducing so many characters, this only causes storylines to feel fragmented with how frequently episodes would switch between perspectives. I think for future seasons of the show, they should focus way less on the main cast from the first season. I love those guys, but they deserve a break from all the action. They can make small appearances here and there in future seasons, but the newer heroes from seasons 2 and beyond should really be made the central focus. And we have the perfect opportunity to do it. In the last third of the season, Beast Boy and several other teen heroes form their own team called the Outsiders. Their whole deal is to fight enemies out in the open to inspire other young metahumans and put a stop to metahuman trafficking. I just think the Outsiders becoming the series' new central team makes a lot of sense. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys can tell me in the comments how you think they should handle the big cast. An issue I have with Outsiders specifically is its portrayal of social media. As someone who uses social media like every day, I can tell when writers are portraying it right and when they're not. And this season doesn't do the best job. As much as Beast Boy obviously means well, let's be real here, his constant preaching in front of cameras would be put in cringe compilations. But every episode only shows the Outsiders earning more support as they keep saving metahumans. And there wasn't a single meme in sight. What the fuck? Sorry, got sidetracked there. I just needed to get that off my chest. One thing that caught me off guard was the ending of the season. You would expect the season to end with the heroes defeating Granny Goodness, right? Nope. They defeat her in episode 24, meaning there's 2 episodes left to wrap up Outsiders. So basically, trouble stirs up in Markovia again, and the Covert team joins the Outsiders to handle it. Brion and Tara fight their uncle, which leads to Brion killing the guy by force feeding him lava. Even with how brutal this season had been up to this point, I did not see that kind of kill coming. Oh yeah, and the Terra Trader reveal finally happened. But it turns out the heroes, just like us, the audience, already knew it was coming because Batman eavesdropped on a conversation Deathstroke had with another villain. Anyway, Brion gets kicked off the Outsiders because he killed his uncle, but the people praise him for getting rid of the corrupt man and hail him as their new king. Then it turns out the ambassador of Markovia is a member of the Light who used his powers to basically brainwash Brion into killing his uncle in the first place. So there's that. After all of that, the heroes meet up in the Watchtower and discuss who the next leader of the Justice League is going to be. Nightwing elects Black Lightning, to which everyone agrees. Black Lightning forces Batman to close down Batman Inc. and have all their members rejoin the Justice League and the Covert Team. The season ends with the heroes just chilling at a diner, enjoying time together, and we see one of the waitresses is wearing a golden ring with an L-shaped symbol on it, which means the Legion of Superheroes are going to play a big part in season 4. Overall, Outsiders has a very messy plot. It felt very disorganized, especially in the middle of the season. But there are still several good things about this season too. The voice acting was great. Some of the action scenes were pretty good. The fun character dynamics from the earlier seasons were still here and accounted for. But just because I'm a fan doesn't mean I can't look at the series' faults. I really hope this is as low in quality as the entire show gets. I had no clue what to put here for the transition, so you're just gonna get my voice instead. So, you guys want to watch Vine compilation? Young Justice is an awesome show, to say the least. Despite all the ranting I've done about the weaker parts, the positives heavily outweigh the negatives here. I definitely recommend this show to people who have at least a passing interest in superhero media. I'm not going to say anything in this video about season 4 since it's not done yet, but it's showing a lot of promise. If it keeps up the level of quality it's at now, it might even surpass the first season in my rankings. But I've said all I wanted to say in this video. Let me know what you thought of my opinions, whether you agree or disagree. Thank you all for watching to the end. I appreciate it. See you next time.